Thanks so much for joining us. Flora Atieno is our sign language interpreter. And the national government now says it already disbursed 10 billion shillings as part of the equitable share to counties last week. An additional 10 billion shillings is expected to be sent this week as the government urges county governments to set aside portions of these allocations to mitigate the flooding crisis occasioned by the ongoing El Niño rains. NTV Sydney Chazima reports on the resolutions of emergency cabinet meeting at State House today.
President William Ruto, in his move to put in plans to intervene in the flooding crisis brought about by the El Niño rains, held an emergency cabinet meeting at State House. From the meeting, several resolutions were passed, among them disbursement of a portion of the equitable share to the county governments.
The National Treasury last week disbursed 10 billion shillings of their shareable revenue. Cabinet also directed the National Treasury to release an additional 10 billion shillings to county governments this week, again part of their shareable revenue.
Government is urging the devolved units to channel part of the disbursed equitable share towards combating effects of the El Niño rains.
The government is encouraging the counties, as much as it's part of the shareable revenue, government is encouraging counties to try and reallocate some of these funds to the dire situation now occasioned by these floods.
The National Treasury and other ministries have also been directed to reallocate funds in their budgets towards emergency responses.
It also sanctioned a proposal to be sent to Parliament for the replenishment of the contingencies fund and the rationalization of the budget and supplementary appropriations too of the current financial year. Cabinet also directed the National Treasury to further rationalize the current budget and direct ministries, departments and agencies, that is MDAs, to commence reallocation of funds in their budgets to support the emergency response being undertaken by the state.
The government has set its sights on scaling up the scope of humanitarian assistance to reach more than 50,000 households in the ASAL counties, while also rolling out a distribution of 150,000 nets to the affected counties. Affected roads and bridges are also being repaired.
The government has disbursed 500 million shillings to the new KCC to mop up excess milk during this rainy season. The government has also airlifted medical supplies worth 180 million shillings through the KDF and in conjunction with the Wajir County government to Wajir County. Infrastructure restoration is being implemented following damage caused by rains.
State House now says that the El Niño threat is still at an alarm stage and that the threat will only be escalated to a national disaster based on data from relevant agencies on the ground. Sydney Chazima, NTV at State House in Nairobi.